Leicester. My name is Alexander Serrano. You're currently in Art for Change. It's a cultural cohesion project based on the PopUp shop principle. So basically we're using empty shops. This is one of the empty shops that we're using now, and we're converting them into art galleries for the people of Leicester to use as exhibition spaces and to use as mingling points for creativity. We have an exhibition every month in which people can exhibit their work, and they can come in and view their artwork as well. And we're currently in Malcolm Arcade, which should be used as a nucleus for the community of Leicester to meet, and for local shops. It's like a hyper-density of... can we stop that? I don't know what to say. Sorry,
well, I'm going to carry on. That's good. That's the official piece that we need for that. So, so tell us, how many times have you done this now?
We've been doing this for around 2 years now, and we started in the High Cross. The High Cross were kind enough to let us use a unit for free, and that was based. We wanted to use a charity auction at the end of it as well. So we were exhibiting everyone's artwork, which we didn't charge them for, and then the aim was to have an auction at the end of it, and sell everyone's work to benefit to charities we wanted to collaborate with. So after the 1 month period, the Mayanga Hotel were kind enough to let us host the auction there, which we did do, and it was a success.
Now, is this something you've done before Leicester, or this is the first time you've ever done these things?
We had a few friends in Barcelona and in Hamburg who did it as well, and we joined their project as well. And I don't know whether people are aware that the PopUp Principal originated in Berlin, which was a very poor city, and it had so many empty spaces. So automatically loads of creative people flocked to Berlin, and it was a brilliant way to kind of renovate the city from the inside, you know. And all the community of Berlin were using the PopUp Principle to clean up shops, to bring art and culture to the city. And this is a brilliant venture which normally happens in an economic crisis, which we're currently in as well. And I think any city could benefit from local involvement from their community.
Do you think there's an opportunity to unlock empty retail space in lots of high streets right across the UK, and from what you've even said there, Europe and the world, using young people as a catalyst alongside artists like yourself?
It has to happen. I don't think personally age should be, it shouldn't be young people, old people. It should be anybody who wants to do it and who can offer something proactive to use the empty shops, you know, because empty shops, it reminds me of a Western film, you know, it just deserts the city, and normally it flocks to, what do you call it, a multinational complex, like where there are big businesses, and it shouldn't be about that. It should be about, well, I don't want to say it should be about keeping things local, but it should be about maintaining a human element into a city. And a way to do that is to involve the local community as well, to have their say, to have their interaction, and a city would blossom if they would use these foundations.
Now, when people talk about retail, they think about big sort of shopping centres. They also think about maybe out-of-town developments, and obviously a lot of people use the internet now for doing their shopping. Do you think the retail model has completely changed away from high streets, and we need to find a new way of reinvigorating them, because it's never going to be like it was before?
I think that in a way, if you do shop online and the internet, it's good for maybe a person who's very busy and to do maybe your grocery shopping. But I think the interaction involved in retail kind of is lost in multinational companies. And if you can give local, even garment makers, and farmers their opportunity, it doesn't just have to be art. It could be used for anything, really. It kind of creates a balance within the community where people can actually produce the goods which are needed, and people can purchase them as well. So there's a demand and a need, a demand and a supply.
And what sort of use do you make of social media?
Social media is very beneficial in the way that it doesn't give you international news, which is important as well, but it gives you news which is actually happening in your area. It localizes the news. It's like a hyper-intensity of the news that you're living in the community that you're living in. And that is, it gives a personal element back into the news. It doesn't, like when you watch BBC News and it's international events, you might see it, you might understand it, but in a way you're detached from it. You know, and if something is local, it actually makes you feel that you're part of it and that you can make a progressive change to better whatever you might disagree with.
Now, you've managed to combine your Art for Change concept here and pop-up shops with your legendary parties now. So they are legendary. Did you think that kind of mix of sort of bohemian lifestyle, music, entertainment, art, culture is another way of reinvigorating areas that are suffering?
Of course, I mean, it's all creative, and creativity can flourish. It needs the right foundations and soil in a way to flourish. So I do believe that creativity is music, is interactive painting, where people can maybe work on a project together, which might be a big mural painting, you know, and it's the energy these parties in a way provide. You know, it kind of brings a spark back into people's creativity. Maybe some people think, oh, I can't do it, but then they see other people doing it, and then they give it a try, and they actually feel that they enjoy doing it. And it's about that, bringing creativity and enjoyment back into people's life.
Now, over the last couple of years, there's been an interesting debate taking place in the mainstream media about a gallery, an art gallery for the city, and the city gallery, and where it was going to be, and the funding that was involved, and the fact that one was shut and stuff like that. Do you think, a bit like we're trying to do with a museum of citizen journalism, things like galleries and stuff shouldn't necessarily just be one single location, but could in fact be 10 different shops that rotate around the city? Do you think that could be a good way of doing it?
Of course, I definitely think that's a new approach that could benefit the city of Leicester. For now, like, you could have a mobile gallery. You could even use, like in Germany, they had a project where they used old containers for art galleries, and then each month they moved the container into a different location of the city. It's a brilliant aspect, and then it might give other people the opportunity who are immobile, maybe they can't go on the bus. You know, it gives everybody a chance to visit the gallery, because it's not cemented into a certain place. It can move around, so every person in the city can benefit from it.
And what sort of, just final question, arcades? I mean, you know, there's quite a few here in the city, and I certainly, from my own personal experience, enjoy going to places like Derby and Nottingham and even Cardiff, for example, when we were there. Going through the arcades is a very different shopping experience from going into a large shopping centre. Has it been more beneficial, do you think, being here in an arcade as opposed to a high street shop? I mean, from your point of view with Art for Change.
Definitely. I think arcades are, you know, it's less sterile. It gives you more of a feel of what the city's really like and what the people are like in the city. And the arcades, you know, unfortunately, people have moved away from local shopping into like shopping centres. But if the arcades get revamped and would get cleaned up, you know, I think it would make it much more appealing for the people of Leicester to come back into the arcades, use them for what they were meant to be. You know, they are meant to be used by the people of Leicester, and that's what it's all about bringing people together, you know, and the arcades have all the potential to do that, and I hope we will achieve that.
Alexander, you're a legend.
Thanks. I hope that's okay. My phone